everybody. This is Brian Goulet of the Goulet Pen Company and InkNouveau.com. Today what I want to talk to you about is Séyès paper. This is a type of ruling that's also known as French rule because it originated in France. This is a kind of paper that you're probably not used to if you grew up here in the States. If you're abroad, maybe you've seen it a little bit more. If you're from France, you've definitely seen it because this is what kids use in France when they grow up in school. This is the kind of paper they use, similar to in America what we have here with the different lines and the dotted and the dash and all that stuff. This is what kids in France use. So it's a little bit interesting ruling. It's kind of confusing if you don't know what's going on with it, so I'm going to try and debunk it and explain a little bit about what's going on with this type of ruling. Now there's a couple of different products that come in this French ruling. Clairefontaine, the brand comes from France, so they're the only brand that I'm aware of that has this type of ruling. They have two different sizes of staple-bound products, just staple-bound notebooks like this. They have two different sizes of cloth-bound. These are a little bit thicker and they have that cloth binding on them. And then they also have, this isn't regularly imported in the US, but they have these loose sheets as well that have this same type of ruling on it. And what trips people out about these loose sheets is all these holes here at the top. These are called multi-hole punched. And what this does is it allows you to use either a 3, 4, or a 5 ring binder. Not really common here in the US, but it's in France, so what do you expect? They do things a little bit differently over there. So anyway, we'll take a closer look and I'll dive into these Séyès notebooks here. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Alright, so here we have a couple of different types of notebooks, but they all have the exact same Séyès or French ruling on the paper. So let me just push these aside and I'll focus on one notebook here right now. When you open it up, you're going to notice that there are lines all over the place. They're just going everywhere, and if you don't know what you're doing with it, you might hurt yourself. So be careful here. It's really simple once I explain it though. I'm going to zoom in here and take a look at what is going on with these lines. Okay, so you've got this grid pattern, and the grid pattern is very, very simple. You have bold lines going down the page that are all 8 millimeters apart. Okay, that's the bold lines going there. And that is a kind of a standard French ruling with any of the lined papers that you get. It's kind of a standard to have 8 millimeter ruling. So to break up the 8 millimeters, they have these secondary lines that are 2 millimeters apart. Okay, got that? Now what you do is, let me flip to a page that I've already written here. So what you do is you take and you go in between the bold lines, you go all the way up to do the uppercase, and you go halfway up to do the lowercase. And that's really about it. That's kind of the general ruling there. A lot of people like to use these when they are practicing their handwriting, when they want to improve their handwriting, because that's basically literally what this paper was created for. Now going across, let me flip back to a blank page. Going across, you've got 5 millimeters in between all of the vertical lines. Okay? And what that is, that's sort of like if you hit the tab button on your computer, that's just going and indenting for different paragraphs and quotations and stuff like that. And then here, this red line here, this is a margin, a standard margin that we're all used to. And then at the top, it has a header as well, so you can write your name and date and all that stuff. And that's really pretty much all that's going on with this ruling. It's really not that complicated. You can see here, this is some stuff that I've written personally. I had a little smearing there, but oh well. I was practicing with my flex nib. This is what I like to use, the kind of paper that I like to use, not for everyday note-taking and stuff, because it is a little intense, but when I want to practice my handwriting, that's where it really shines. So if you have a specific type of pen that you'd like to practice with, that's where the stuff is really good. So as far as the products that this type of ruling is offered in, there's two different types of staple-bound products. They come in a variety of colors. One is the A5 size like this. It's about a 6 and something by 8 and something. And this one is a 8 and something by 11 and something. So that's an A4 size. So that's your staple bounds here. And then in the same size, you have your cloth bounds, right? So these are a little bit thicker, but same type of ruling, same type of concept. Nothing different going on there in terms of the ruling. And then here's a close-up look of what I mentioned before. This is the loose sheets. So it's got a lot of holes going on, a lot of lines. Anyway, hopefully that's able to clear things up a little bit for you. So that's it for Séyès. I've debunked it. Now you have no excuse for not knowing what it is or how to use it. Hopefully I was able to give you some nice tips here. Email me anytime at brian@gouletpens.com if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos and reviews. Look forward to it. Remember to check out my website, gouletpens.com and inknouveau.com. And I'll see you next time.